All right, fellas. So today we're going to learn about overcoming objections. Now, if as you've probably heard, if you watch any of these other training videos that I've done, that mindset and how you come across and your energy is 80%. I would say it's probably 95% of overcoming objections. It's not so much the actual answer that you give, but how you give it, how you respond is and how you come across is where you're going to have the most effect or the most influence. So anyway, keep that in mind. I found that I mean when I first started with this, I didn't really have a good answer. I wasn't really confident in overcoming objections because I didn't know the right answer. So but I learned quickly though that when I said, I don't know the answer to that question. Let me find out for you. And most of the time, people would either drop it, but most of the time, but if I was quick, be like, yeah, I don't really know. Let me find out about that. And they would drop it for now, and then we can move on. Same thing with when you do have the answer. You do not want to hesitate. You want to have that answer on the tip of your tongue. But because the thing is, if you hesitate, if you're slow, or if you're just like, yeah, it is 25 years, but well. I mean, if you hem and haw about it, you're gonna lose all credibility. You're gonna sound shifty, just like, what is this guy? What is he trying to hide? If you're confident and you look him in the eye and you tell him just straight, yeah, this is how it is. Anyway, it shows that you're not trying to hide anything. Eventually they're going to stop digging. They're not going to make up concerns that are really just pretty ridiculous. So, I mean, and you know what I mean. If people are starting making stuff up, they're creating smoke screens. They're really, anyway, it's usually because they don't like me, they don't trust me, or there's just not any influence there, or they just don't want to, or they're just not comfortable with the situation. So. Anyway, but the biggest thing I would say the main questions that you get is what if the people who buy my house, what if they don't like solar? What if they don't want the system? What if they don't take over? Now Jeff, who's working for us right now, he does a really good job with this. He actually addresses this before it even comes up. He talks about, okay, if you want to sell your home, you just give us a call, let us know, and we're going to work with your realtor and train your realtor on how to promote the solar as a selling point. So the people that are going to be looking at your home are people that are already interested in solar. So anyway, so he kind of squashes that concern before it comes up, which is actually a really good thing to do with a lot of these. So, but. Anyway, but I've had people say, just kind of pushes like, well, what if they don't want it? And then I just give it to them straight, and I just look them in the eye and say, well, really, if you're in that kind of scenario, that kind of situation, I would probably just wouldn't sell your house to that person. And and again, it's all in how you come across. I mean, you don't want to be arrogant. You don't want to sound egotistical or whatever. I mean, you want to wrap that up in love and people skills. But at the same time, nobody's going to push you around, and and you're really just going to tell them how it is. And I mean, because I've had people say, well, what if in like 5 years I'm just not happy with it anymore, and can I cancel and you guys take it back? And I just say no. I don't. And most of the time they're like, well, okay, well, if that's how it is, then that's how it is. So I mean, just say it how it is. Be confident with it. And that's gonna be 80-90% of overcoming objections. I rarely get much pushback, and if I do, it's because I'm talking to the wrong type of person, or they just they either don't trust me, they don't like me, or they don't, or they're just super skeptical, and they're just gonna be fence sitters, and it's gonna be a lot of work to close that deal anyways. So anyway, we'll talk about that another time, but. Okay, so let's say if the new owners of the house don't want solar, anyway, and just as another side note or whatever, I would show them on the value statement on the contract. So okay, let's say you have $15,000. Let's say that's in 5 years. To buy the system, it's an extra $15,000. I would promote your house as having solar and raise the price of your house $15,000. And then if somebody doesn't want free electricity at that point, then come on, then seriously you shouldn't sell your house to that person. Anyways, I mean, come on. Another concern that people have is about the 2.9% increase. Again, Jeff's been with us the longest, and so I use him as an example. But he does a really good job with this in talking about, okay, when Nevada Energy, they've done this the last 5 years, and they've gone up, on average, 20-25% a year. Now our rate does go up too, but only at a rate of 2.9%. So we just kind of stay with inflation. So 2.9 versus 20-25, what they've been doing. Now last October they went up another full cent for most people. So anyway, so you want to squash that before it comes up, and again, you want to be very confident about. I was like, yeah, our rate does go up. But it's at a fixed 2.9%. You know exactly what the rate is going to be for the next 25 years. Some people, they just need a little bit more reassurance with that. Again, I would show them on the value statement. It's the page that shows what your rate is going to be, and the buyout or whatever. It's the page just after the signature page on the contract. But anyway, most of the time I would show them, it's like, okay, if so your rate today is at 10.5. Most of the time it's going to take right around 8 to 12 years before our rate catches up to what Nevada Energy is going to be. So it takes about 8 years for us to catch up to what Nevada Energy is today. Now, in 8 years, where do you think Nevada Energy is going to be if you look at the last 5? So anyway, I mean, so yeah, that's how I usually address that. So let's see. Another question is, what if your rate ends up being higher than Nevada Energy? What if Nevada Energy goes down? They're making stuff up. I mean, they're trying to find a flaw. And again, I would just say, Nevada Energy's never ever gone down on a privately owned utility like that. It's just never happened. It's never happened. Not to say that it won't, but and I just say, that is a possibility. It could happen. And again, I'm confident. I just say how it is. It is. I guess it is possible, but it's not likely. The auto pay. Some people are like, well, I'm on Social Security, and I can't do the 17th. I can't do the 17th, or they just don't like giving up control of their bank account or whatever. I get this one. I guess is kind of tricky, but again, confidence. And you need to just tell people how it is. If they push it, it's like, well, I really would prefer to write a check and send that in each month. I'm like, sorry that they don't do it like that. and I don't. Anyway, I empathize. And make sure that they're. I guess maybe I should back up. And if these are real concerns that people have, you want to empathize. You want to make sure that you understand where they're coming from. With that, so like I said, wrap it up in 11 people skills. But anyway, but you want to control the conversation. So anyway, I would empathize with them, but we've had a few people that I guess are on Social Security, or they don't like the 17th. But really we need to help them understand. Okay, we're going to save you right around $50 a month, and all you have to do is budget, this $120 or whatever your average solar payment is going to be throughout the year. Would it be worth an extra $50 in your pocket to budget that in your monthly expenses? Just kind of tell them what it is, or how it is. So I don't have a good answer for that other than just say it how it is. Let's say somebody wants to. They say, "Oh, I want to think about it. I don't know. I'm not ready to sign this today." What I do, and you got to figure out what's right for you, for your personality. But anyway, but with that, I usually will step back and say, yeah, that's no problem. It's whatever you guys want to do is fine. And so I acknowledge that. I acknowledge, where they're coming from and make sure that they feel understood. I kind of change the subject and talk more about them. I want them to, at that point, you got to be careful about pushing, because if they're not comfortable with signing right now, it's just because they just feel uncomfortable. They're just a little nervous. Bring it around, change the subject. Talk about other stuff. I mean, you can talk about what they liked about the PPA, or you can start talking about referrals. You can talk about I would change the subject for a minute. Talk about their dog. Talk about their kids. I mean, build a rapport, and then and just bring it back. Most of the time, if you kind of leave it alone for a minute, they'll be like, "All right, you got a pen." So I mean, let's just do it. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do it. So, and you just got to feel it. If you have rapport and connection with somebody, then that's. That one's usually not a problem. Now, if they insist on not signing that day, book another meeting, book another appointment. Say, okay, no problem. I've got an appointment just down the street on Thursday at Thursday afternoon or whatever. When's a good time I can swing back by? Great. You set the time. You set that follow up date right then. If they're like, no, we'll call you. At that point, I would almost write them off. I would give them, I would pull out maybe an incentives like to tell you what, if all right, I'm going to be careful about ask me if that we may be able to do some kind of incentive if well, as just kind of a last chance type thing. So anyway. Hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully this clarifies things. But really, it's just how you come across is the biggest thing. So good luck to y'all.